It's time for the Steve and Kyle podcast with Steve.
You had a big week.
I did.
Did you add this on Facebook as a life event? You know how you can put when you graduated high school, when you got married. Can you do that right now? I think it's a great idea. You had, the biggest event in your life. That's it.
And Kyle.
How are you feeling at this point?
I'm okay. By Wednesday, I probably could have consumed, like I would normally, pop a handful of Skittles while eating a Ding Dong and then slug a Mountain Dew. My normal breakfast.
Sure, yeah, of course. A couple Pop-Tarts, the s'mores Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
Because you want to be healthy.
Right, and then I finish it off with just as many corn nuts as my mouth can hold.
Now, here they are, two guys who are living in style, Steve and Kyle.
I think it's a miracle that we're here.
It's not every morning that I really want to strap the cape on for myself. But today, Steve, you and I,
Superheroes?
we're heroes.
Yeah.
Okay? And this is a weekend known for heroes.
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow's the big day.
Tomorrow's the big day.
The big man.
We are here on a Saturday this week. Against all odds.
Yeah. Just 7 hours removed from when I crawled into bed after the first annual, can we now say? Yeah. After the night before the side gig, live at night show karaoke extravaganza, I think we called it.
The Steve and Kyle podcast. Good Friday Karaoke Fest.
By the way, can I get you a jelly bean?
You know what? Let me take a look. Since we talked about the big weekend here.
I'm just saying that so that way I can take a second.
It's a big yellow one. The proportion...
big jelly beans.
These are big. The proportion of the black jelly beans to the other jelly beans in any bag of jelly beans is very equivalent to Chex in the Chex mix.
Yeah.
It's way too heavy-handed.
Way too much. Now, with Chex Mix, I can understand it because it's called Chex Mix.
It's the namesake. I get it.
Yeah.
I don't have to like it.
No.
I got to tell you, if I'm eating the Chex Mix, I'm not there for the Chex.
Like this bag says Ace's jelly beans. Mm-hmm. It doesn't say Ace's mostly black licorice jelly beans.
Yeah. Like, hey, sift through all this garbage for the few that you like.
Like I reached in to grab, 5, 6 of them. 4 of them were the black licorice ones, and I immediately threw them in the garbage. Nobody likes them. But we digress.
Yeah. Yeah, the very first... Not going to number the rest of them.
Maybe the last.
Maybe the last. Steve and Kyle podcast, Good Friday Karaoke Fest took place last night. Got home a lot later than I anticipated.
Yeah, I don't know.
A lot later.
I was shocked when, at one point, I looked around and I didn't see you. Mm-hmm. And I thought for sure that you and Katie had trapdoored.
Yeah.
The Irish goodbye, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Just hit the road. And I was shaking my head. I was like, damn, I respect that.
He did it.
I respect it, especially in an event that technically we were hosting. Mm. It's one thing to Irish goodbye, if it's at a gathering at somebody's house, like a summer barbecue, and there's 20, 30 people there, and you're just like, let's get out of here, and you sneak out. Much harder to do at an event that you are hosting.
Yeah, where people have come and you're talking
people
to
have
them
come to
and
see you.
Yeah. It would have been impressive. No, there was something keeping us there much later than we anticipated, and I guess we can call this lesson learned.
Yeah.
For the next time, the big goal that all I wanted going into this thing was to wrap up our evening, and I told you even when we walked through those pearly gates yesterday, and I don't mean dead.
Yeah, right? we were still alive.
Was I want to end our night with you and I singing, obviously, the spiritual theme song to this podcast.
It's the quintessential shutting down the bar in Michigan song.
Well, I would argue Semisonic has a death grip on that with the closing time.
But this one is Semisonic from Michigan.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, is Gordon Lightfoot? Gordon Lightfoot's not from Michigan either.
Don't believe so. I believe he's just a man who cared about 28 souls and one butthole.
I mean, the song, I would rank it, when I'm within the confines of the state of Michigan, I would say that this song is the quintessential shutting down the bar song for the state of Michigan. The great forest state. What is the state?
Land of many lakes.
Land of 1,000 suns.
The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
I told you we were having this discussion when we were in the bar. Said I want to sing The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. And at that point I was debating literally dropping the microphone and just hitting the door.
Well, there is, at the place that we went to at Fulton Street Pub, I mean, I use heavy air quotes for stage. It's just it's like a one-step up riser type thing. But directly off to the side, there's an emergency exit. And according to my calculations, that song ending would justify an emergency. Right out the door.
No question. No question. That was the goal. And me, I've never done karaoke. I don't believe I've ever gone to a karaoke evening. I put our name in to do the Wreck of the Eddie Fitz. I don't even know what time, but it wasn't that late. It wasn't after midnight, I don't believe.
No.
And we sat there and I thought, okay, there's a handful in front of us. The place was still pretty busy.
It was, and that's kind of how it's always gone anytime I've gone out for karaoke.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the night, you put your name in and you're up within like 3 songs.
Yeah.
Because it takes a while for the liquid courage, whatever you want to call it, to get flowing. People aren't as willing to jump up there and make an ass out of themselves at 9 o'clock as they are 11:45.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first song that we did, I put our names in, and it was probably within 3 to 4 songs they were calling our names.
Yeah, and so I guess I had assumed at the end of our next endeavor, the Arc of the Eddie Fitz would be the same situation. So fast forward to the disappointing results for this. Steve, you and I were not able to close up shop last night with the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
No.
And I think it's important on this big weekend.
Oh, yeah, the biggest.
That we express our need to blame somebody.
That's what this weekend's all about.
If
Pointing that finger of blame, finding somebody who's just minding their own business.
Yep.
And saying, you're the reason this failed.
I'm posting on the poll. Is this big weekend all about who to blame? Back then, whatever it was, probably the plate guy. What was his name?
Pontius Pilate.
Not the plate guy.
Not close. You got some of the letters.
So this weekend,
By
more
the way,
specifically,
I could not tell you what that man did.
Was he the one who took a few things of gold?
I don't know. I assumed he was a pilot just based on his name.
Really should have planned ahead and had our friend of the show, Jewish correspondent Brian Krause, on to answer these questions. That's all Jewish history, correct?
Yes. Yeah, of course.
So the big question on this big weekend is, who do we blame last night for not being able to go? And I've got a couple fingers to point.
Okay.
Got a couple fingers to point. And you know what? I don't like doing this because
no, of course
they're
of
good
course
people.
Not. You don't like blaming anybody.
These are good people. But listen, fingers got to be pointed somewhere.
Okay.
And I'm going to start with the head of the table. I'm going to start with our good friend Timmy.
Okay.
Okay, Timmy's a good man. And Timmy has a whale of a karaoke set list for himself.
He sure does.
If you weren't there, I'm not going to spoil it for you. Just know Timmy picks the most unique music to sing in karaoke and then distinctly makes it his own.
The one song that he did seemingly as Grover.
Yes.
From Sesame Street.
Remarkable. Just incredible stuff. And again,
it started out pretty true to the original.
Yeah.
I mean, as best as he could do. But then I think everyone kind of noticed a shift, maybe around the 2.5, 3 minute mark. We're all looking at each other like, did he turn into Grover?
And that was, in my mind, less remarkable than the 1960s song he made sound like it was from Slayer.
Was that Herman's Hermits?
King Henry?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Henry VIII.
Just a remarkable stuff. But Timmy, I think you got up there 2 or 3 times?
Yeah, something like that.
You're partly to blame.
Oh.
Next on the list?
Bummer for you, Timmy. I thoroughly... This list is not... doesn't have my full endorsement.
Yeah, no, listen, and I'm a big fan of Timmy. Told him that. Excited to see him. Fantastic effort. 2 songs.
Great shirt, by the way.
2 songs. You know, you had, I believe, 2 or 3 more in the queue in front of us. Part of the reason you and I were not able to sing the Wreck of the Eddie Fitz.
Yeah.
Next in line to blame, another good man came out for karaoke. Drove a long way for this for the big weekend here. Maybe he wanted a front row seat to the cave shooting out coming up tomorrow. The cave jetpack situation.
The old big man blasting out of the cave. Big day.
Our friend Chris Pruitt.
Oh, no. What did Chris do?
Chris, a good person, a great man, a lovely singing voice.
Yeah. Did a Weird Al song to kick off the night.
A noted introvert. Yeah. Out of his shell last night, at least last night, possibly this whole weekend. Outstanding stuff.
Yeah.
Chris, you sang 2 songs and you had 3 or 4 more in the queue.
So you're gonna shame him too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Listen, I mean,
look, Timmy, Chris, like you know what you're getting into with this podcast.
And
you could hand us a bar of gold.
Yeah.
Kyle would find it.
I'd probably be dinged.
Oh no, pay taxes on it. Oh.
And
pay taxes on gold.
You have to pay taxes on gold, right? Like if somebody hands me a bar of gold. Well, one, what would we do to it? Would we go to the grocery store and say, "Hey, can I,
how many carrots?
Can I chisel you off a chunk for these groceries this week?"
I don't see if I'm digging in the yard and I find a chunk of gold. Do I have to pay taxes on that? Put that on the poll.
No.
I think I have to pay taxes on gold?
Yeah, that is on the poll now.
Thank you.
So, Chris, you sang 2. You had another. I believe you made it sound at least 2 or 3 more in the queue. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about self-indulgence for a minute.
Oh, boy.
Big fan of the Weird Al version of American Pie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, related to Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Not a Star Wars guy, but I mentioned to Chris, I mentioned to a couple people. I'd listened to that CD back in I believe it was maybe 2000 when Weird Al released it. More than I had ever heard American Pie, still to this day. So those lyrics are much more familiar to me than Don McLean's American Pie.
Right.
Little long.
It's very true to the original. I mean,
yes.
I think American Pie is 8 minutes and change.
It is a woven tapestry of Americana that has been changed into a woven tapestry of Star Wars lore.
All right.
And I'm just saying, Chris, I appreciated the music. A little self-indulgent.
So maybe find the short version next time.
If you could ask them to cut out, a lot of the minutia, or maybe an instrumental, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
Those 2 are the top of my list in terms of who to blame for why you and I weren't able to get up there and sing the Wreck of the Eddie Fitz.
Yeah.
And I'll put that on the poll. Does every good night end with someone being blamed? Because I think, listen, I had fun. That was a great time.
I had a blast.
I would love
My voice
to...
is struggling. The side gig night show is going to be tough tonight.
Yeah. I would love to do it again.
Okay. Then is it in the books then for next year?
No. Let's not put a date on anything. Then it becomes really official, and then some idiots would start accepting money for this thing for a charity show that they never do, and then, we'd feel really bad about it.
Look, the money.
Thanks to everybody for their donations to the Cure for the Cure. It's just better for us to avoid putting dates on anything.
It is.
Because we are bound to miss it.
If you remember, 362 episodes ago when we started this whole journey,
yeah,
we had some rules for this podcast. And one of the rules was that we were never going to refer to these. We were never going to kick it off as, hey, it's episode 402. Because then, by giving something a number, there's an expectation that there's going to be the next number.
Yeah, we never wanted that expectation. We have long talked about, you and I, when this thing ends. Whenever it is, we're not going to make a big to-do about it. It's just going to not show up on your feed on a Tuesday morning.
The feed's going to be deleted.
Yeah, we're just deleting all social media.
Going to be deleted. Yeah.
And we're all just going to move on with our lives.
Yeah.
But
to be fair, we've been talking about the end of this podcast since the beginning of this podcast.
Yeah, and as we approach, I believe, 7 years coming up in the next few months.
Sure.
I believe we started this in June of 2016.
We did. We did an episode in June.
Yeah, so 2016 was the year.
We took a couple months off after that.
That's what a lot of people do. They reevaluate. They really hone in on what their strengths are going to be.
Well, look, you had just gone through that trip to space.
Yeah.
A lot going on.
Yep. We have talked about the end of this much more than we have talked about anything else on this podcast.
Yeah.
But all of this, I don't want it to get lost, Steve, and I don't want to surprise you with this request. You and I were still able to get up on stage last night. And I am making no bones about it. I was really, really, really nervous.
You were. I sensed that from the moment you got there. You seemed to have a cold sweat.
I had sent you multiple texts, somewhat in jest, somewhat not in jest. Can we still cancel this thing? And this was afternoon of. I believe one of them was even sent on the way to the bar.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was on my way there, and you chimed in, can we cancel?
But I walked in.
I don't know if we can just not show up to an event that, again, we're hosting.
Yeah, and you're welcome to Fulton Street Pub for bringing all the clientele in last night. Had a nice group of friends and some listeners there who showed up to make the night, I would argue, a pretty darn good success.
It was a blast, man. I had so much fun. And huge thanks to everyone that did show up, especially Chris. Chris drove 9.5, 10 hours.
Yeah, look at me, Louie, there.
You're still a little upset.
Am I going to tell you? We wanted to shut the bar down, and I think 4 minutes off of that, off of the Weird Al song, and maybe we hop up the list one or two.
Yeah,
no big deal. Thanks, Chris. It was nice to see you. Thanks for coming up, and he offered me a ticket for the Side Gig Live at Night show tonight.
I'm assuming that you declined.
I don't even think I answered him. I walked right out the door. I mean, he should know better. I have so many different things that I can do that I need to do on this big, big weekend to prepare for, again, the big cave launch tomorrow that I did not, I just can't accept. Also, just the production is just
not good.
Not great. And it's a little poor.
We're working on it.
But in all seriousness, thanks everybody for coming out. I was very nervous. And made that known to you, made it known to our friends Wendy and Chris, who also showed up last night. Good to see them. Haven't seen them in forever. And
this was so the scenario was we got there and everyone's sitting at this big long table, talking, chopping it up, having a good time, scanning the QR code that pulls up the song list for karaoke.
Yeah, and by the way, I know you mentioned the alternative, which is flipping through one of those zipper binders.
Boy, I missed the binders,
CDs or lyric sheets. I'm really glad the way we did it.
Yeah, there's something nostalgic about the binders, though. I just like them. I like the binders. But anyway, so I scanned that QR code, and you can search by artist. Immediately typed in Springsteen, and I was once again surprised at the depth of the catalog that they had.
Yeah, a nice, a wide swath of Springsteen music.
It wasn't just the hits.
Nope.
It wasn't just the hits from, Born to Run, Born in the USA era.
Some newer stuff.
There was some stuff
very good.
Yeah, some stuff from a year ago.
Yeah.
So I went back and forth a couple of times. Had a drink here and there. Got that, again, liquid courage built up a bit. Because I've done karaoke before, but I'm still not the most comfortable person doing it.
It is an uncomfortable thing for most people if you're not... I mean, I sing in the car.
Yeah.
Right? And I think I would argue everybody does. Mm-hmm. But that is 100% different when you're being drowned out by the actual singing voice of the person paid to sing that song.
Remember how bad it used to be when you'd be singing along to a CD and then you hit a bump or something and the CD skips. So for about half a second you hear...
Yeah, you hear yourself. There's nothing worse than hearing yourself.
No.
Nothing
at all. So I took it upon myself because I knew that if I was relying on you to pick a song, we were going to be there for a minute.
Yeah. And in fairness, I wasn't even looking. I had kind of... Part of me was probably assuming I was going to weasel my way out of doing it.
Sneak out the door.
So what you did was the best possible outcome for me.
Well, I'd gone up to go to the bathroom, and I realized as I was standing in the bathroom that I was humming Glory Days.
Oh.
So I'm like, Glory Days.
I would argue a top-tier hum song, too.
Yeah. Love it. So I walked back out, pulled up that song list again, entered the name Steve and Kyle, entered the song Glory Days, and boop.
We were cooking.
Sent that off. I made you aware. I think you turned pretty white. Mm-hmm. So I immediately went up to the bar, got us a couple of shots. I brought them back, and then I just set them on the table. And I said, we can't do these until we're walking up to the stage.
Yeah.
Until our song gets called. So they sat there for probably 2 or 3 songs. And then you hear Steve and Kyle.
Oh, and boy, I will...
For Glory Days.
I may never forgive my wife for what she did.
Oh, no. What did she do?
As I was sitting there waiting, nerves are heightening, right?
Yeah.
Shoulders are tense, and I'm looking around. I'm like, maybe the machine will break. You know, maybe power will go out. Yeah. And I'm nervous. She goes, don't worry, you're in the hole. You're in the hole, which means it's a baseball term. You're up.
Yeah.
Which is the person, hey, it's your turn to sing.
Whoever's on the stage is up.
You're on deck, which is you're next.
You're next.
In the hole is 3.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 2 people before you. Said, don't worry, you're in the hole. You got a few songs. I said, okay, great.
Trying to
so I
limber up. And
it couldn't have been more than 30 seconds when that lady up front said, and now Steve and Kyle with Glory Days.
I'm just assuming that the person that was before us was a no-show.
No, because I looked at Katie. I said, you said in the hole, and she was laughing her butt off.
Well played.
So
well played.
No chance for nerves to continue at that point. We walk up, and you and I had a plan. You know, I was going to jump in at a certain time.
Yeah, I was going to take the first verse.
Yep.
You were going to jump in at the chorus. Glory days.
Yeah.
I'll pass you by, glory days. And then I said, after the chorus, if you're comfortable, you take the second verse.
Yeah.
And then I'll jump in at the chorus, and we can kind of go back and forth.
Right.
So
it was a good plan.
It was a great plan. It was a way to ease you into it because the chorus is the simple part.
Yeah.
Plus, 2 people are doing it.
Yeah.
All the attention's not on you. So
and then disaster struck.
That indeed. So I said, all right. My approach is always to try and own the stage. Mm-hmm. From the minute I get up there, I grab the mic. Hey, my name's Steve. This is my buddy Kyle. And we are going to sing your favorite song from the great state of New Jersey, from the boss. It's Glory Days. And then... Woo!
And so, I'm nervous at that point because, you know, I know at this point I'm just going to be sitting there for a few seconds.
Yeah. So you start to see the little bar on the screen go that's counting down until the first lyrics hit.
Yeah.
First lyrics hit, I brought the house down. I got to say that. I mean, I'm not going to try and downplay it.
Sure.
I know that you wouldn't possibly.
I would never. Yeah. No.
But
listen, I was in a tunnel vision, so I can't verify this.
Look,
but I have no reason to dispute your memory.
I killed it. Just killed it.
From where I was standing, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Okay? And granted,
I mean, crushed it.
Tunnel vision. For me, total tunnel vision.
Like, women were removing their clothing and throwing it on stage.
There was garments hanging from a ceiling fan.
Mm-hmm.
There were Sharpies with shirts pulled down for Steve to sign while he was singing.
Yeah. Very difficult, by the way.
This was all before I was scheduled to come in with my part.
Right. Again, just glory days. Mm-hmm. They all pass you by. Glory days.
Yes. Yeah, which again is the point. That's the moment everyone's waiting for, right?
Yeah.
It gets there. You pulled the mic down. No chance for nerves.
I was still going to do it, but I was holding back a little bit. Yeah, I was going to let you take the lead.
And I go to step in, and I bust out "Glory Days" to utter silence.
Yeah.
That's right. What we thought was a broken microphone was, in fact, just the karaoke master not turning on my microphone.
And so, being the good lead singer / wingman that I am, I hand you my mic. And then we're kind of going back and forth.
Yeah.
All the while, I'm taking your mic, doing the old tapping on it, looking for the switch, but it's not one that had a switch on it.
That's the first thing I looked for, was a switch or something on the bottom.
Look, as a seasoned radio and podcast veteran.
Right, you produce some generally content, which means you should be fully aware if there's a switch, you'd find it.
I know all too well about how to poorly produce things.
So, we're trying to get the karaoke master's attention. You're smacking on it.
I'm actually singing into the working mic, like while there's instrumentals going on. Yeah. Hey, that mic isn't working.
Yeah. And again, I thought the mic was just broken. Like, listen, we're at a small town, or not a small town, but a small pub and grill, on the outskirts of a downtown area.
Yeah.
Like, if a microphone dies, it's not the most outlandish thing in the world.
To be honest, I don't think one person noticed except us.
So,
but it started out as subtle, hey, the mic's not working.
Yes.
And then by the end of the song, it was, this mic is definitely not on. And then I turned to look at the karaoke master, who couldn't have been less engaged.
Yeah.
Was in the middle of a conversation.
Yes.
Which, again, totally fine. But, I mean, on this podcast, we need a pound of flesh.
Right.
And
well, listen, because you just stepped on the medal stand, karaoke master. Mm-hmm. In my people to blame.
Oh, is this it?
You are the bronze medalist.
Oh, wow. That's something.
And you know what?
Can't
if this thing stews a little bit more in my belly here while we finish recording, and by the way, abbreviated episode today. She might move her way up the medal stand here.
Okay.
So we finally got done, and I said, and I'm very lucky because everybody told me before we went up that their phones had died, so that they could not record anything.
Well, that's not exactly true.
So there's no audio of this to be found.
No.
I sat there for about 2 songs, and finally I thought, you know what? Someone's got to tell the karaoke master that the microphone is not working. I don't want some other idiot on their first ever time trying to do karaoke to be so brought to shame.
That's bold of you.
By silence coming from the microphone. So I went and told her, I said, hey, I think that microphone is busted. We just did. It was Steve and Kyle on Glory Days, and that microphone in the corner was not working.
Yeah.
And she looked, she goes, oh, that was 2 of you? I just didn't turn you on.
I mean, I can understand. Steve and Kyle sounds like one name.
Yep, Steve and Kyle. So maybe she thought you were Stephen Kyle.
Yeah.
Middle name Kyle, because I go by, when I'm walking around. Oh, what's your name? Oh, Kyle Aaron. Like I always bust out the middle name.
Yeah.
So I could see her confusion.
Sure.
You know what? She's silver. She's silver on the medal stand now.
You just talked yourself into it, didn't you?
Karaoke master, Well, like I said, we're lucky enough though that our friends, family, everybody there, very nice enough to just let us enjoy our moment. and not feel the need to constantly record us while we're up there.
Again, not exactly true. I'm looking at Instagram right now. This is actually posted to my story.
Oh, you sound great. See that underwear? Get tossed?
Oh, here we go. Here's
I did send you. My brother also sent me one here this morning. I did text it to you. I don't know if you have that, and I don't know how that audio will translate.
Oh boy, let's see. It's going. Oh yeah, see this is the best part about sending videos from Android.
I know.
To iPhone. Hold on, let me blow it up so we can see how clear it is.
I'm sure the audio will be just as good.
Yeah, let's see. We're a little bit late.
Well,
okay, so that was the end of the first verse when I handed it off to you.
at that it's right there that I noticed.
You're pounding on the microphone.
Yeah, this thing is not working. Oh my gosh. I may be too traumatized to ever do it again.
I hope not, because
I spent the next hour searching people up. Be like, hey, you want to get up there with me and do something? You want to go up there and sing one with me?
Really?
Yeah. It didn't materialize.
I'm surprised that your wife wanted no part of it.
No, and I even offered her. Granted, we wouldn't have stayed because this was later than you and I put in for Wreck of the Eddie Fitz. I offered to do the Lady Gaga portion of Shallow.
Oh, that's right.
And then I was going to give her the Bradley Cooper parts if she felt more comfortable with that. And I would, again, hit the Lady Gaga notes.
Did Katie have fun?
I think so. Yeah, she enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was surprised when you texted.
Wish she had gotten out there.
When you had texted saying, yeah, me and Katie are going to be leaving to head down there in a little bit. And I was like, oh, look at that. That must be nice to have someone who's interested in some way in the things that you do. Because as you remember, we talked about it when it was 6 months ago probably when we came up with this idea for the karaoke night, the night before the Side Gigs night show. Came up with it on the podcast. We went upstairs. I said to my wife, hey, we're going to be doing a karaoke night before the Live at Night show. You want to go? And she just laughed and she said, yeah, I'll pass. Okay.
I had a lot of fun. I think it would be fun to do it again. Talk about it more. It kind of got lost in the shuffle this leading up to with our Pull Badness and everything. Mm-hmm. And but I had a great time.
I was a little surprised that more gifts weren't brought.
It was mentioned. Yeah. It was mentioned right in the posting. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're in the mail. Yeah. Could only hope this will be rectified one way or another. Yeah. Maybe tonight. Maybe they left them in the car and they were bringing them to you tonight at the Side Gig show. Hey, good luck with that, by the way.
Hey, thank you.
Seems like you're in a good place today. The voice sounds fantastic.
Thank you. I have to leave to head to the venue in about 5.5 hours, and I have easily 4 hours worth of work that I need to do before then.
God. Pass it on to the lady who was there last night, your cohort.
Maitland.
In mid-level production. Mm-hmm. Maitland showed up. That was fun to see. She went up there and
she did many Nickelback songs.
If there's an outside looking in on people I'm blaming for last night.
Really?
Yeah,
Maitland's going under the bus too.
She is staring down Chris Pruitt on the bronze medalist side. And just for good measure here, before we wrap this up and get to our results of Pull Badness, Steve, I'd like to officially put the karaoke master on the gold medal side of this stand and knock down Timmy to silver, Chris to bronze.
This took no time at all for you
No, it really stewed the last few minutes. And then seeing those videos really punctuated the idea that she wronged me in my time of great nerves and need.
Yeah. Okay. Honorable mention, by the way, to Robert.
Yes.
For the worst video I've ever seen.
Well, I'm sure the video from iPhone to iPhone looks great. But you're right. At some point, that gets sampled down when they're apparently the ghost of Steve Jobs just dislikes the ghost of Jim Android. And they're still fighting.
Jimmy. R.I.P., man.
But, Steve, again, thanks to everybody for coming out. Maybe next year we'll do the same thing. I thought it was very fun.
Maybe we make it a monthly thing.
Maybe next year we do this again. Maybe twice a year.
Okay.
Or next year.
Yeah, I like that. Maybe it's an every other year thing.
Yeah, we'll see you in 2025. But it is time, Steve. We need to officially recap and get to nearly the end.
Yeah, just 2 matchups, right?
2 matchups today. We are down to the tiresome 2 of Poll Badness 2023. Oops, forget it's sped up.
Here we go. If you want to be the best, you've got to be a fighter. If you want to be the best, you've got to show desire. Oh, we should have done this at karaoke.
Oh,
Do you have Desire by
Fighter's Desire by this YouTube group? She seemed totally okay with pulling up any music from YouTube, which cannot be legal.
Yeah, probably not.
Boy, Fighter's Desire followed by Wreck of the Eddie Fitz. We shut the building down.
Boy, you know something? I got a real bone to pick with the guys that kept going up and doing like Lil Dicky and Kendrick Lamar.
You've got to find songs the crowd is going to know.
Yeah.
And in fairness, it seems like most people knew those songs.
Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely on the outside looking in.
Yeah, there were people singing along, and I'm just looking at the screen. I've never felt more old. Never felt more old.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the days of Don't Stop Believin' as being the big hit.
We didn't hear any Foreigner.
No?
That's stunning. Yeah. Stunning. Steve, we are down to the Foolish Four in Poll Badness 2023.
Yeah.
Our winner from the patently absurd division, that's the number 6 seed, is Steve's Murder Jeep, tinted with the blood of the innocent, taking on the winner from the What the division. The number 6 seed is Kyle, just a bag of used parts.
Oh, boy.
I'm sorry, the number 4 seed is Kyle, just a bag of used parts.
Head-to-head matchup.
Maybe it is 2 6 seeds. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Head-to-head, the Foolish Four. One of us is going to be going to the Tiresome 2 to battle for the Poll Badness Championship. Yeah. You are looking at, for you personally, a repeat.
Yeah, who was our winner the first year?
First year was where the Apostles known for chiseling the word boobs into rocks. Again, our foray into the religion division for the podcast awards. And the 2022 winner is Annette's Etsy shop, just her slamming airplane-sized booze bottles to get away from Steve.
Still hurtful. Still true.
In the direct Steve versus Kyle matchup,
what do we got?
With 67% of the audience. And I'd just like to say how much of a group of a-holes our entire listening audience is.
Okay. I think I see where this is going.
Is Kyle just a bag of used parts is moving on to the Tiresome 2 to battle for the Poll Badness Championship?
Gosh.
I don't want to be a part of this. I think I had 2, and I think it's just by way of, it's probably some way your brain works. When I post the polls, it feels like I hear a lot of the things you say, and I post them on the polls that reference you, and it just doesn't process the same way with me. There's just not nearly as many polls that center around me. So this is one I would argue pretty rare, and one I wasn't in this tournament very much. Yeah. So for me, is Kyle just a bag of used parts to steamroll the competition?
Yeah.
Steamroll. 86% it won its first round matchup. 89% it won its Senseless 16 matchup. 92% of the audience voted for me in the excessive upsetting the Billy Rubens and Jimmy Patty Mouth, which again is an all-timer for my mark.
It's fantastic.
Is Kyle just a bag of used parts? Is moving on to the Tiresome 2.
It's a Cinderella story this March / April. Mid-April.
Moving on to the winner of the Asinine Division. That's the number 4 seed. Should Steve make the union workers refer to him as Big Bacon Steve or Papa Benjamins? That was taking on, again, for my money, another juggernaut. Mm-hmm. Does Dick Head, the owner of Dick Head Appliances, flick his cigarette at a baby? I would have been just as happy seeing Dick Head versus Billy Rubens for the championship, because I think those two are the best ones we put out. Maybe not this year, maybe ever. Mm-hmm. Steve with 51% of the vote.
51
vote difference. This goes to show, if you are not partaking in the Poll Badness tournament on all of our social media accounts at Steve and Kyle, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, you are losing your chance at influencing very important votes.
And at this point, this might be the last year of it, since we can't do voting.
Yes, and the rumor is polls on Twitter are going away, which is the content and context for the entire tournament. There's a chance this may be the last time we can do this, unless we throw together one all-time bad Poll Badness bracket where I pick the 32 best of all time. 51% of the vote. 1 vote difference. Moving on to the tiresome 2. Should Steve make the union workers refer to him as Big Bacon Steve or Papa Benjamins with the upset? Moving on to the tiresome 2.
I'm happy, but also sad.
We have a direct Steve versus Kyle matchup.
Is there a better way to bury this bit, to end it once and for all, than with a head-to-head matchup? For my money, no.
It is a number 6 seed. Is Kyle just a bag of used parts? Versus the number 4 seed. Should Steve make the union workers refer to him as Big Bacon Steve or Papa Benjamins?
All right.
For the 3rd ever Poll Badness Championship in the tiresome 2.
What's the line on this in Vegas?
I would argue right now, is Kyle just a bag of used parts is a favorite. I wouldn't say a heavy favorite, but based on the way the voting has gone,
there's momentum there.
I am looking for an upset to go back to back.
So are you rooting for yourself, or are you hoping?
I do not want to be on that plaque.
Okay. I do kind of want the repeat. That would be nice. So we're both rooting for me?
That seems like it. You heard it here first, folks. That vote should be up right about now on all of our social media accounts. If not, it'll be up this morning. At Steve and Kyle, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Again, the final matchup, the tiresome 2 matchup, is Kyle just a bag of used parts taking on, should Steve make the union workers refer to him as Big Bacon Steve or Papa Benjamins? For my money, not even a top 3 Steve entry into this tournament.
No.
But here we are. The fans have voted. The internet has had their say.
Yeah.
We are about to crown another champion.
Oh, boy. It's an exciting time of year.
Love it. It's
very
again
exciting.
Mid-April.
So much going on this podcast, none of which is relevant to the outside world in any way.
Nope.
Thanks again to everyone. We had a fantastic time.
Yeah, if you're looking for those videos, there's a handful of videos posted on our social media. There's also a few that I believe Maitland posted that may included the Steve and Kyle tag. So check that out on Instagram.
I think we even got a post, or we even got a story mention from the old side gig.
I'll remove the tag.
Check so the one out. That would actually
check those out on all our social media.
The one that would actually benefit us.
That was a lot of fun. I had a great time with that. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. Check those videos out at Steve and Kyle on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
We will talk to you next week, and maybe go at least an hour.
Happy Rome Spring, everybody.